So Denzel Curry and Kenny Beats finally got one, and it was never a question of if, but always a matter of when. Unlocked is their new album, and Kenny Beats is literally proving himself as one of the most necessary producers going into the new decade. His inclusion on great, amazing projects like Vince Staples' FM, Rico Nasty's Anger Management, working and collaborating with Freddie Gibbs on Freddie, his self-titled joint. Also gotta say, I really enjoyed the marketing going into this record, to the cartoon visuals that were done prior to the album actually coming out on streaming platforms, almost like it was unintentionally leaked. And I gotta say, this album is probably one of the most cohesive, easy to get through, easy to sit through Denzel Curry projects he's got. It's not too often that I think producers find artists that fit their production style this well, and with Denzel Curry's skill set, his versatility, how much energy he's got, the beats really match him all over the album. The album starts off very MF Doom-esque, where there's this pretty lengthy sampled intro, which caused a lot of people to tweet me saying this was Kenny Beats and Denzel Curry's Mad Villainy, which I don't really hear that much in the album, especially considering on the cover art how much it's influenced by Organized Confusion Stress album. And I think Denzel Curry oftentimes on this project takes from 90s Prince Poe. His sometimes jittery vocals and unpredictability when it comes to his flow patterns. I also hear really heavy influence from Deltron 3030 all over the album. Track number 7 on this album actually reminds me a lot of the fantabulous rap extravaganza from their self-titled album. There are some tracks here where I feel like Denzel is almost being possessed by the spirit of another rapper as he does these vocal inflections, very reminiscent DMX on the track Diet, which I think is one of the best tracks here. And I say all that to say it takes much more from those influences, I feel, than Mad Villainy. Kenny Beats has these instrumentals that are really electronic based but have a very aggressive nature, much like Denzel Curry, and also sound really psychedelic at the same time. Despite there being vocal influences here for Denzel Curry, his personality is still like the main factor that drives the fun on this album and keeps the replay factor going for me. On an album that isn't drowned out in some kind of conceptuality or some type of theme like there may have been on his Taboo album or the regional references that we got on the Zoo album, which I think this album is far superior than, honestly. It's easy for Denzel Curry to just rap and do it with nothing weighing him down. Combining like an oldies boom bap aesthetic with futuristic sound is, you know, the healthy meeting place where this album excels. There's a lot of moments where it feels like Kenny Beats found an image from the 1980s or the 1990s and just copy and pasted Denzel into the frame, photoshopping him into some of the most influential time periods in hip-hop and rap music, but all over an i9 processor. And I don't want to give it the credit of sounding authentic to the extent that it sounds vintage, but it sounds like I'm playing a video game emulator, not necessarily the original game itself, which gives it a bit of artistic credibility because there's something new that you're adding to it while at the same time being inspired by something that clearly already exists. And sure, I do think this album could be improved upon if they gave themselves more time, but the amount of time that they gave themselves and they still came with this gives me confidence that they'll definitely be able to release something even more pleasurable, something even more entertaining in the future. Well, I do think Denzel Curry should probably start writing his lyrics, because if this whole thing is always freestyles, we're always going to be subject to one of the most awkward bars ever. But that lack of planning and that lack of blueprinting just makes this album feel like one explosive feeling or sensation more than it does any plan, theme, or concept, which makes it more fun. It makes it more light. It makes it more tolerable. I'm a paid motherfucker, Gun Tucker. I don't trust him. I don't love him. I mean, take the track Lay It Down, for instance, which, despite its short duration, walks an almost perfect line of nostalgia and futuristic at the same time, almost completely encapsulating the listener with its retro aesthetics. It's a fun, easy to consume, easy to listen through project for me. I think it's probably one of their best, both Kenny Beats as a producer and Denzel Curry as a rapper. Major complaints with the record is, yes, despite the fact that we got the My Bitch Bad like battle rappers that make albums line. I'm gonna need more one-liners. I'm gonna need some better punchline. I think there's something in the sound that they're using right now that hasn't been fully developed yet, and I feel like once they find it, they can take it to the next level. Mixture of futurism and nostalgia that can be fused and made into something more than what they're making right now. Despite the fact that it's extremely enjoyable, I feel like they haven't fully tapped into it yet. Not yet. I feel like this is on the cusp of it. And despite how short this project is, I think at only 18 minutes, it still feels the need to throw like random interludes in. Moments on the album where on some of the longer songs, there doesn't feel like there was much more to say. So there were just lines repeated and choruses and hooks repeated for the sake of extending the rest of the song. Again, I don't have a huge problem with it being built in only 3 days, but that's really my main gripe with it. Those are my main issues with Unlocked. But everything else considered, I think it's a really enjoyable project. I would definitely recommend it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Denzel Curry and Kenny Beats with their album Unlocked. That's how I feel about it. Really enjoyed it. Y'all let me know how you felt about it in the comment section down below, and I'll see y'all next time. I'm out. Peace.